Ouvrir gat.
Kailarach. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Harash.
Seli amane, besaru amore zerane, badan hayanile anserakun, yetam, ododa, toshagerakun, Paskana liman dominate, gamma botpanan, haracham sasam, haracham tete, tebi hakanan, vadi sevarune homorokets, garakina ingamka norokets, yere shatabazai sorit kabat, aya, veolen, kampanen kabat, Paskana liman dominate, gamma botpanan, haracham sasam, haracham tete, tebi hakanan.
Hanky Scott.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, everyone needs to wake up. So we're gonna start out with loshkeba pickers. Okay? Okay.
I want to see everything. Let's go, guys.
Ready? Begin. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, yergu, yerek, chors. Yerek, yergu, yerek, chors. Chors, yergu, yerek, chors. Hing, yergu, yerek, chors. Vets, yergu, yerek, chors. Yota, yergu, yerek, chors. Ita, yergu, yerek, chors. Ina, yergu, yerek, chors. Dasa, yergu, yerek, chors. It's early in camp, but already you guys are totally clogging up the toilets and it's disgusting. So guess what we're gonna do next? Toilet flushers. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors. Yergu, yerek, chors. Yerek, yergu, yerek, chors. Chors, yergu, yerek, chors. Ing, yergu, yerek, chors. Vets, yergu, yerek, chors. Yota, yergu, yerek, chors. Uta, yergu, yerek, chors. Ina, yergu, yerek, chors. Dasa, yergu, yerek, chors. That was, yeah, the boys were a little quiet. So go take a lap. Okay. Trunk twisters? Okay. Next thing we're gonna do is trunk twisters. Yay! Okay. I think everyone knows how to do those, so we can just start. Okay. Ready? Begin. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota, uta, ina, dasa. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota, uta, ina, dasa. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota, uta, ina, dasa. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota, uta, ina, dasa. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota, uta, ina. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota, uta, ina. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota, uta, ina. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota, uta, ina. Meg, yergu, yerek, chors, hing, vets, yota. Meg yergu yerek chors hing vets yota uta. Meg yergu yerek chors hing vets yota uta. Meg yergu yerek chors hing vets yota uta. Meg yergu yerek chors hing vets yota. 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 Meg yergu yerek chors hing vets. 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 Meg yergu yerek chors hing. 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 Meg yergu yerek chors. Meg yergu yerek chors. Meg yergu yerek chors. Meg yergu yerek chors. Meg yergu yerek. Meg yergu yerek. Meg yergu yerek. Meg yergu yerek. Meg and you, Meg and you, Meg and you, Meg and you, Meg. Nice job. For our last exercise, we are going to talk about our old friend Joe. I think everyone knows Joe, right? Everyone knows Joe?
Love Joe.
Okay. So ready? Begin. Hello, my name is Joe. I got a wife, 3 kids, and I work in a button factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, are you busy?" I said, "No." He said, "Push this button with your right elbow." Hello, my name is Joe. I got a wife, 3 kids, and I work in a button factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, are you busy?" I said, "No." He said, "Push this button with your left elbow." Hello, my name is Joe. I got a wife, 3 kids, and I work in a button factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, are you busy?" I said, "No." He said, "Push this button with your right knee bone." Hello, my name is Joe. I got a wife, 3 kids, and I work in a button factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, are you busy?" I said, "No." He said, "Push this button with your left knee bone." Hello, my name is Joe. I got a wife, 3 kids, and I work in a button factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, are you busy?" I said, "No." He said, "Push this button with your big head bone." Hello, my name is Joe. I got a wife, 3 kids, and I work in a button factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, are you busy?" I said, "Yes." Nice job, guys.
My name is Unger Alex Surenyan. For those of you who don't know me, I am a former camper and counselor at AYF Camp Hayastan. I'm also a member of the AYF Chicago Ararat chapter, and today we're going to be talking about Armenian art and architecture, a visual history. So before we get started going through all the various art pieces, we're just going to do a quick overview of the different eras we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about pre-Christianity, Christianity in the Middle Ages, Greater Armenia and the Ottoman trade routes, and finally post-genocide and modern. So to kick things off, we're going to be talking about pre-Christianity. One of the first art pieces we're going to be talking about is called the Uktatsar petroglyphs, which come from the Uktatsar mountain range in the Sunik province of Armenia, dating back to around 12,000 BC. This is one of the oldest art forms that we have in our people's history. They are Paleolithic era rock carvings on black magnesium left behind by an extinct volcano. And basically these carvings here is a very early form of a writing system. These illustrations depict aspects of everyday life, like hunting and gathering, as you can see on the image on the right, and also depicting animals like gazelles, dogs, and bears, as you can see on the image on the left. So this was a very early way for us to communicate with one another and talk about important aspects of everyday life in the community that existed at that time. The next image we're going to be talking about is the Arani 1 shoe. This is the oldest shoe in the world, and it was found in the oldest winemaking location in the world. It was found in Arani, Armenia, inside of a large cave, which was used for winemaking, and they also found this shoe there when they excavated the location. It's stuffed with grass, to possibly be used as some sort of a form of insulation or some sort of cushioning. The outside of the shoe is made with a cowhide, basically the skin of a cow. They tanned it, and then they basically took two pieces and stitched them together, as you can see with that stitch line moving down the middle. It's extremely well preserved, and the particular reason why it's extremely well preserved is because of sheep poop, actually. So when they excavated the location, they found this shoe encased in sheep poop, and it basically served as as a form of insulation and protection from the outside elements. And because the shoe is made from leather and grass, it's biodegradable natural material, so it can be destroyed over time from the weather. And the reason why it's in good shape is because of the poop preservation, basically. And I thought that was very interesting when I was doing research about this. The next piece we're going to be talking about here, or the structure we're going to be talking about, is the Garni pagan temple and burial site. This is also found in Arani, Armenia, dating to around the 1st century AD. It's a Greco-Roman colonnade, which is basically a building with a bunch of columns running around the sides and a central structure in the middle, which had a particular religious altar of some sort or something like that. This particular temple was used for the sun god Mihir, which at the time before we became Christians, we were pagans and we worshipped multiple gods. So we had different temples and locations for worshiping particular gods within the Zoroastrianist faith that we had. Once we converted to Christianity, sadly, a lot of these pagan era temples and sites were destroyed. And this is one of the few that remains in Armenia to basically show as proof of our pre-Christian path. And so it's very important that we hold on to these aspects of our history, regardless of if we've converted from one religion to the next. It's very important for us to preserve our history through the various times that we existed. The next section we're going to be talking about is Christianity in the Middle Ages. The first art piece here is called the Four-Sided Stela. This is one of the oldest surviving works of Armenian Christian art. This basically is a column carved out of, and these images are carved into stone. And this particular stela, this column, depicts the founding of Christianity, or the story of how we converted to Christianity. For those who don't know, there was a bishop named Saint Gregory the Illuminator who brought Christianity to Armenia. And the king at the time, King Durtad, was a pagan king, and he rejected the faith of Christianity. When he became very sick, St. Gregory actually cured him and made him basically feel better through the Christian faith. So this stela depicts St. Gregory the Illuminator and King Durtad going through this story of St. Gregory healing King Durtad and us then converting to Christianity. The next art piece we're going to be talking about is the map of the Holy Land with Armenia. Now, this particular art piece doesn't come from Armenia. It comes from St. Albans, which is a church in England. The reason why I wanted to include this is because I wanted to show how the outside world knew about Armenia. They knew that we existed. And this was through the Christian faith particularly, and the depiction of Noah's Ark resting on top of Mount Ararat, which is in the Bible. So the way that they were illustrating Armenia existing on this particular map of the Holy Land is at the very top in the center, you can see a boat with two peaks, which is meant to illustrate Noah's Ark resting on top of Mount Ararat. So I thought it was very interesting that people knew of our people and knew where we came from through these particular means. The next art piece we're going to be speaking on is very famous and very distinctly Armenian, called the Khachkar, which directly translated from Armenian means cross stone. It's very distinct because of the organic and geometric patterns that are carved into the stone with very ornate detailing. It takes a lot of time to make these sort of things. Originally, the Khachkar was used as basically a form of a burial site. It was like a gravestone. So it was originally used for that purpose, but then it eventually became a symbol of military victories, important sites like community centers and other locations in Armenian communities, and also church constructions as well. So this has gone through a bit of a change throughout its existence, but it's distinctly Armenian and very, very familiar to our history and to our culture. The next art piece we're going to be talking about is the carved door, found at the Sevan Monastery in Armenia, which was created around 1486. I wanted to include this because the same art form of the khachkar is being applied into this particular art piece here, where you have very ornate detailing and patterns all throughout this piece of wood that was carved into. What's also very interesting about this is how it tells a story, and as you can see in this image, it shows all these rows basically separated, creating a form of hierarchy, if you will. So at the very top, you have Jesus with the four beasts of the apocalypse, and then just below that, you have Saint John the Baptist, the Mother of God, Saint Stephen's, and Saint Gregory. Then from there, you have basically a dove, which depicts the Holy Spirit passing the word of God down to the 12 disciples. And you can kind of see how it's telling a story through this visual hierarchy in the door. I thought that was very interesting and very unique. The next art piece we're going to be talking about is, or the next, the next section is Greater Armenia and the Ottoman trade routes. The first art piece we're going to be talking about here is the altar frontal, which is basically a cloth covering that you would put on top of an altar when the church service wasn't happening. What's really interesting about this is it's found in Isfahan, Iran, which Armenians have lived in for many, many centuries. What's so interesting about this is because Armenia as a people had expanded by this point all throughout the Ottoman Empire and the Caucasus in general. So we had a lot of different communities spread out and a lot of different, particular goods and items that were being traded throughout this region. So Iran is very abundant with silks and various textile materials and yarns. So I think it's very unique to have this particular art form depicted and made in this particular part of the world, which may differ from somewhere else. The visual story that's being depicted in here is the founding of the Cathedral of Holy Echmiadzin in Armenia. So it's depicting that story with a very ornate, organic pattern running around the edges. Another art piece I wanted to quickly talk about is the egg-shaped ornament, and this is particularly used for perhaps the birth of somebody, like a christening, or even used for Easter. So the egg is very unique to those particular events that could happen. So they would display these in the house when a particular holiday would come around, and they would paint it with crosses and angels and stuff. Very religious piece that can be used for particular occasions. And this was found in Bursa, which is in present-day Turkey. Another set of pieces I wanted to quickly talk about was actually by an artist named Ivan Ivazovsky, his original name is Hovannes Ivazyan. He was born and created a lot of his artwork in Kaffa, which is now known as Feodosia in Crimea. As I said earlier, Armenians were slowly expanding throughout the world, and this is a very distinct style of painting and has a lot of influence from European art forms and particular movements that were happening at this time. So this particular artist, Ivan Ivazovsky, was creating a lot of surreal art pieces, really inspired by where he's originally from, which is the Crimea. So he lived on a coastal town in a coastal community, so there's a lot of depictions of oceans and ships and beaches. So it was very, very unique to his upbringing and where he came from, but extremely influenced by art movements and styles in a more European context. From there, we're going to be moving on to post-genocide and modern, and we're going to be talking about a few different artists in the process. First one we're going to be talking about is Mardiros Saryan, who was born in Imperial Russia, and he spent years leading up to the genocide visiting present-day Armenia into Western Armenia, focusing on aspects of surrealism and symbolism. This particular art piece is called Armenia, and you can see how this more surrealist perspective comes into play with these very high rolling mountains, with the church in the background, the rivers, the trees, the people dancing a shurchbat on top of the house. It's very symbolic to where Armenia is and the culture that exists from our homeland, and I thought this was very interesting to show. The next art piece we're going to be talking about is The Liver is the Cock's Comb by Arshil Gorky, which was painted in 1944. Arshil Gorky was another surrealist artist, and he was the grandfather, essentially the founder of abstract expressionism. Very unique shapes. You can't really make out exactly what's going on, and that's what's so unique about abstract art. He was born in the Ottoman Empire and was affected by the Armenian genocide as a teenager. He had to deal with the Armenian genocide at that young age. Thankfully, all of his family survived, and they eventually immigrated to the United States, where he wanted to then reinvent himself. He wanted to become a painter. He always had a passion for art, so he was primarily self-taught, but he then took courses and classes to strengthen his painting skills. And this particular art piece actually is a ode to his past, to his history of being from historic Armenia. It shows a lot of very unique shapes, a lot of very unique colors, organic forms, and it was really inspired by the nature of Armenia, the trees, the mountains, the rocky landscapes that exist. So this was very, very inspired from where he came from. And he wanted to go back into that dark past that he had, being affected by the genocide, but doing it in a very beautiful way to tell his story. The next art piece we're going to quickly chat about now is called Baking Lavash, painted in 1972 by Minas Avedisyan, who was another abstract artist, and he was born in Soviet Armenia, in Jajur specifically. He actually was more professionally trained. He went to the Yerevan Art School, and he paints a lot of aspects of everyday life in Armenia. He spent most of his life in Soviet Armenia, and this is a very good example of that. It's just people baking lavash. But the way he would paint it was with very vibrant and bright colors, and doing it in a way that you can clearly see what's happening, but it's not necessarily painted to very, very specific detail. It's a little bit more abstract, a little bit more loose, and it tells a really cool story. Another quick art piece we're going to talk about, or I should say a photo portfolio, is by Scout Tufengshan, this is a photo series called There Is Only the Earth, Images from the Armenian Diaspora. And she took these photos between 2000 and 2010, going around the world and visiting different Armenian communities, from Sao Paulo, Brazil, to Kolkata, India, as you can see in the images here. So she was trying to go and tell a story of how far apart we are as a diaspora, but showing how we all have this common blood, this common upbringing, and this culture that we all share and that we really embrace and love. So this is just a collection of a few of the sources that I picked up while making this particular project. And before we end the lecture, I wanted to ask a couple discussion questions that you guys can perhaps chat about. After seeing all these art pieces, I want to ask a few things. If you ever had the chance to create an art piece inspired by your Armenian roots, what would it be? Of the pieces shown from this lesson, which one did you find most interesting? And finally, do you think art and creating new ways to express our history and culture is important to our survival? I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Stay safe, and I really hope you guys enjoy camp. Have a great summer, everyone, and take care. Thanks again.
And this is the Camp AYF News.
Hey campers, welcome back to day 2 of Dance Move of the Day. I'm Ngeruwe Patil.
And I'm Ngeruwe Carey.
And what's the name of our dance move today?
So this dance you can do by yourself, you could do with your dog, your sibling, your mom, your dad. It's called the Armenian Pop Dance.
So get up out of your seats, get ready to get on.
It's that time again. How do trees get online? They just log on.
Here with the Armenian word of the day. Today's word is leech, which means lake. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Leech! Passing it on to Unger Greg.
Hi, Unger. Today's word of the day is leech, so let's use it in a sentence. Legion mecha chenkona logal vorviv bolshaka. which means we can't swim in the lake because there's bull sharks. Bye.
Hi everybody, I'm Angelo Janusz with your Camp Hayasan Fun Fact of the Day. Our fun fact today is that the beachfront of Uncas Pond is named the Hamatyan Beach.
That's Angelo Sina.
And that's Angelo Carey.
And this has been the Camp Hayastan News.
Hi campers, it's Ingetowe Victoria.
And Ingetowe Rebecca.
And we want to start off by saying that we miss you all so much and we wish we could be with you in person this year at camp, but
This is a great alternative and we're so excited for you guys to attend virtual Camp Hayasan.
yay!
It's gonna be such a fun time.
Okay, so today, me and Ingetowe Rebecca are here to show you how to, drumroll please, make a string bracelet! Yay! Okay, so for the materials, you're gonna need some string,
So 3 colors of your choice. We chose the Armenian flag.
red, blue, orange. Then you need some scissors to cut the string. And lastly, you need some thick tape to hold down your string.
Here's just clear duct tape.
So you're gonna grab your first color, and today we're gonna make a skinny bracelet, but if you wanna make it thicker, you just add more pieces of each color. So you're gonna take the string and cut it arm's length. 1, 2, 3. And you're gonna do that for each color.
Now when you have 3 of each of your colors, so we have 3 red, 3 blue, and 3 orange, you're gonna take it all and tie it in a knot, but leave some space at the top. So tie it like this, with space at the top so we can tape it down. So now you're gonna take the string, take your piece of duct tape, and tape it down to a hard surface. So when you yank it, it doesn't come off.
Okay, so now you see we have 3 red together, 3 blue together, and 3 orange together. Now what you're gonna do is we're gonna start by the red. You're gonna take it with the other red next to it and you're gonna make a 4. Then you're gonna hold it like this and you're gonna pull it underneath the other red one and you're gonna pull it up and pull it into a knot. And then you're gonna do that one more time. Make a 4 and pull it up. Now you're gonna move to your next red. Sorry, they all got tangled. So you're gonna make a 4, pull under and up, and pull it hard so you don't see the other colors. And you're gonna do that 2 times. So go under and pull up. Now we're gonna move to the blue. So you still have this red one. And now you're gonna start with your 3 blues. So here's 1, make a 4, pull it underneath and pull it hard. Go, make a 4, go under, and pull it through. Make sure you do this 2 times on each string. So that's 1 blue done. And then you move to the next. So after I do this last 4 on my last blue, I'm gonna pull it tight, and then I'm gonna move to my orange. And you can't really see the bracelet forming because it's so close to the knot, but once you keep doing this, it'll look better. So you make a 4 and make a knot. Make a 4 and pull it through. And then you're gonna do the 2 last oranges. Now I'm on my last 4 of the last orange and I'm gonna pull it through and make my final knot. And now I finished the first red string. Now I'm gonna move over to my reds that I first started with. So now I'm on my second red string and I'm gonna do that same process all over again. So you make your 4, you'll pull the string underneath and up. And you do that 2 times. Now you move to the blue, and you do this on all 3 blues. So after I finish my second red, I'm moving to my last and final red string. Now I'm on my last knot of the red pieces. So that's done. Now see how all 3 of the red strings are towards the end? That's how it should be. Now your next colors are blue. And now you can see a little bit how the bracelet is already starting to form. So now we're gonna start with the blue strings. And you're gonna do the same process. 2 knots on every string. Once I finish my 3 blue strings, I'm gonna move over to my orange strings. And the same exact process all over again. So you're making your 4 and you're doing 2 knots on each. So you're pulling this one through and then you're gonna do 1 more 4 and pull this knot real tight. See, our bracelet is already forming. As you can see, now I'm on my last orange string. So I'm gonna make my 4, oopsies, the wind. And pull it through and make a knot. And make sure you're making your knots tight. You pull tight so that it clumps together. So now as you see, I have red, blue, orange, and they all look together. And now you're just gonna repeat that process starting back with your red strings. Then you're gonna keep making these knots until you see the length increase and it fits your wrist. So as you can see, now we have finished our bracelet because we ran out of string, but if you wanna make it longer, you just have to cut your string longer. So you're gonna take all your pieces together and you're gonna make a knot at the bottom of your bracelet. That way you can tie it with the top end. So you pull all the strings through and you make a knot, just like that.
Okay, now we have finished our bracelet and we can tie it on our own wrists, your friend's wrist, your sister's wrist. I'm gonna tie it on my sister's wrist. And now you have a friendship bracelet. We hope you're having fun on Camp Zoom, and now you know how to make a friendship bracelet. We miss you guys so much and can't wait to see you next year. Paddy Yagak!
Orir gat.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land of my fathers, thy land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring.
Hanky Scott.